Shalom, Kol Halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahushai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahushai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahushai. Excuse me. This is Brother Azariah coming at you with just a quick little video. I was reading through the scriptures, and I just wanted to focus on the promises of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, because when we labor in this truth, we're we're hoping on the promises and the covenant, the new covenant that is to be bestowed when Yahushua comes back, and most importantly, the sure mercies of David. So give me a second while I decide where I want to hop in, because I was in Genesis. I think I'll start at Genesis 26 and 24. And it reads, "And the Lord appeared unto him the same night, and said, I am the God of Abraham thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee, and will bless thee, and multiply thee, thy seed from my servant Abraham's sake." And I was reading that, just thinking on it and meditating on it. And that's powerful, because in this truth, we're pushing, to be the hopeful elect to get saved by Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But, you really have to think back and, eat the roll, and you'll come to understand that, it's promises he's keeping to our forefathers, our ancestors, and he's talking to Isaac, the father of Jacob here, and he's letting them know, like, I had your father's back and I'll have yours, and that's something to think about when, you're pushing in this thing, and you might get weary, or how your head just goes back and forth, when you're living day by day here in Babylon. And let me go back to my bookmarks, because I was sitting here on the promises, and let me just change up the pace. And since we're focused on the promises of Yasharallah, when the Most High comes back and the sins reach up to the heavens, let me get on our spiritual brother Edom, and I'm gonna go to Lamentations 4 and 21. And it reads, "Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shalt make thyself naked." And that's what's coming to, the nation of Edom, and also whoever's joined along with Edom from the nation, from our nation of people. And I was watching a documentary with my wife, and it was about Vietnam, and I was just sitting there thinking about the irony of the battle, of how big of a battle of attrition the Vietnam War was, and just meditating on that and thinking about fighting in the Middle East, and something jumped in my head, and it's that Esau, even though his gift is the sword, when he's not dealing with Israelites like Haitians or Judah or Gad, he has a pretty fucking hard time, and like in Vietnam, like the Battle of Dak To, Dien Bien Phu against the French colonialists before we ever even invaded there. It was a hard fought battle. It was all hard fought battles for Esau, and that was something I was just meditating on, and I got to thinking that it's just because of the promises that Yahweh Shem Yahushua made to the nation of Israel, and with those promises came curses if we were to, disobey him. And I just had a precept for that, and let me take it back to Genesis. I believe it was Genesis 25 I was in. So let me just let me see. 1 second, Akiam, Salakia. I'm just, the blue letter allows you to bookmark certain notes, and, it is a very useful system. But, you get through the Spirit, you get so many different directions when you're reading, and you want to come up with this lesson and that lesson and the third, So, Salakia, as I look for. Well, I'm just going to go back to Genesis 26 and 24 and just bring it out from there. Actually, I'm going to scroll up to verse 12, and then it says, Then Isaac sowed in that land and received in the same year an hundredfold, and the Lord blessed him, And, I think we're getting close to being in that time to where we're going to get that hundredfold, that spiritual hundredfold that, Yahweh Shem Yahushua is talking about right here, and it was very spiritual because I'm watching this Vietnam documentary, and it correlated how the war had a lot to do with the civil rights movement, and the battle of attrition over there overseas had a lot to do with Jake getting their civil rights amongst, a whole bunch of other issues. But it was a pivotal moment, and you know, uh, in a lot of popular scholars' popular opinion, they'll say that Vietnam was a huge blunder on the behalf of America, and a lot of people still like to say that the last great generation was World War II, and that was the Second World's woe. So, it's just time to spiritually gird up our loins and prepare to, to meet Yahweh Shai when he returns. And, we don't want to be that slothful servant, that sluggard that Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai couldn't rely on to push forth push forth the truth in sincerity and with charity, because at the end of the day, you know, we should be moved to fear, because we all fall short of the glory of the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and that's a fearful thing. It's a fearful thing to fall in the hand of the Most High, and everyone on down from the prophets down to the lowest in Israel, is responsible for the world being in the state that it's in, and a lot of my elder Akim in my camp and just watching the elders, I spiritually had to grow to see why they would say, jump over a lot of these heathens and Edomites to get to you 2/3, because again, going back to the documentary I saw on Netflix, it's a really good documentary on the Vietnam War. It's pretty relatively new. I think it was made in 2017, but you just see the resilient fighting spirit of these heathen nations going against the whore that is Babylon, in the land of confusion here in Martezayim, you see a relentless battle, and I was watching certain scenes in the documentary, and they were bombing the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and it was just relentless bombing, on the Ho Chi Minh Trail for years. Millions and millions of tons were dropped on the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and it remained a supply route through the entire Vietnam War. And it still exists, and it was through the ingenuity of those people in northern Vietnam and Laos and Cambodia, and